Grand Rising. This will be Grand Rising, okay? True Brit, blah blah blah. Wait, I'll be on great again. Dear me. Arc, I think. I'll be on Renaissance cooperative, collective, whatever. Interesting. And what else? Why some need me to be dumb, wrong and stupid. Okay. And it's been a while. This is being done, this little number is being recorded December 23rd. Okay, so I haven't done one in a while. I think I might September maybe. I've actually done recordings, but I cannot. It's not that I can't be arsed, but there's part of can't be arsed, but the can't be arsed is connected to the pace at which things have been going on. Locally, I'm going to say personally, but we have probably. Oh, don't you dare start raining. Personally, privately, locally, nationally, and internationally, shit going down all over the shop. Okay, so there's been so much, and the impacts of which have very much impacted, I think, the emotional, relational, psychological, spiritual functioning of everyone. It's kind of like people will be talking about resets, awakenings, revelations, all sorts of things, end times, all kinds of crap, because there's so much stuff going on. So this post, in some ways, is the end of year, not really saying much apart from trying to bring together some bits and pieces, and to sort of say that the ones that I haven't posted up from September through to up to just before, the ones prior to this, the last couple of months, I don't think I did anything in November. I don't think I did any recording either, but I think for October and September, there's a few posts. Again, very relevant and poignant, I think, even in the landscape of December 2025. Okay, well, let's just, I suppose it's best to start from where I'm at, maybe. So I remember somewhere around August, September, maybe July, I'd put up a post sort of saying and referring to some of the events that were happening in America in relation to birthright citizenship and the executive orders that go along with that, and the impact that was having on immigrants, immigration, migration at the time, and speculating and reasoning that it's going to happen here. And I may have put a post up about a boycott that has been going on, well, now for at least a couple of months, with, and I might have mentioned it, the possibility of that happening over here in the UK. Well, I was talking about the one that I might have mentioned, one in the UK that's going on at the moment, which is about boycotting South Asian shops, and stores, and mini marts or whatever they are. South Asian business, full stop. And should go to the toilet. Since that's been progressing, I would say, one of the things that I've noticed, or one of the many things I've noticed, is very disappointing, but not unexpected is the response from the South Asian community to the idea of West Indians, Caribbeans, Jamaicans, people from Barbados or whatever, anybody from the West Indies coming together, you know, if you like, spending the black pound, you know what I mean, keeping it within our communities, you know, spending at our own shops where we have them. And I think it's been a very good exercise for the community on lots of different levels, really. One of them is the idea of tribing up and cleaning up. Do you remember when I was talking about that a couple of years back? The necessity to do that. And we'll either do that through, you know, a sort of willingness, or we're going to end up doing it through pain. And I suppose in some ways we've had to do it through pain. And her name's Elaine, the pain. You know, give thanks and praises, sister. You know what I mean? For kick-starting that little bit of a movement. Absolutely. Totally, 100% behind that. Been behind it for years, decades. But you know, there's a time and a place, it seems. The universe has said, right, now's the time to do it. And in that process, it highlights, again, some of the things that I've talked about in previous posts about things like nationality, citizenship, and what it actually means. You know, and sovereignty to a degree as well. It establishes that. And it also highlights attitude. The attitude of, I suppose, in the round, it's of hate that the South Asian community has towards what some people call it the black community, but I'm describing as the Afro-Caribbean community in particular. You know, the rudeness of these people, you know, sort of making out that and actually saying some of the same things that the Latinos, that the Asians in America that have migrated to America, the Eastern Europeans, the Africans that have migrated to America, they have the same view and opinion and have been informed in the same ways as the South Asians, the Chinese over here in the UK, and Eastern Europeans. Anybody who's migrated here, actually, in the last 14 years specifically, it actually goes back further than that. But definitely under the Tories, the two terms of the Tories, and the current Labour government. Anybody who's come in over the last 15 years, that's the attitude, the hatred. And actually, as I say, it's been around a lot longer. It's been around since the 60s and the 70s. And I'm going to say it's give back even further than that. Gandhi had no time for Africans. I can tell you that right now. Hated them. Couldn't stand them. And I don't know if it's just Africans or just black people generally across the globe, but like he's not flavor at all with black people. Anyway, so that's what's. So, you know, there's a bit of a discussion, debate, bit of back and forth, a bit of galvanising within the West Indian community to literally do for self and fuck people who've got no fucking time for you. You know, and they're showing their, as my mum would say, or people in my community would say, as people show them crutches. You know, they're not nice people, you know, as it turns out. And also the people that are sucking up to them, you know, about where their allegiances and alliances and I'm going to say identities lie, you know, where they are with engaging with people who engage with us on a basis of colorism, you know, if you like, or black hatred, you know, that is talked about within those communities, whilst aspiring to get us close to white getting all the white privileges that they can. Now it's backfiring, insofar as, for whatever reasons, you're falling out with white people. Apparently, one of the things that you're doing is taking all their kids and raping them and whatnot. It's interesting that they're not saying anything about Asian communities, stealing white women and taking all your jobs, even though they've taken over all your jobs and all your institutions. HMRC, what's that other one? HMRC, DWP, practically running your governments, your parties, have major influences, major backers. Where did they get all the fucking money from? How is it people are beginning to realise and appreciate that, the phrase that we've said in our community for again since the 70s, and that would be, how come the West Indian community, how come we there so long and have nothing? And we've bore witness in a direct and in-your-face way how recent, in the last 5 years, migrant community groups, immigrants, have come in to the country at the invitation, I suppose, of the this government for sure, but absolutely the Tory government, to provide cheap labour, because the native populations, people that were born here before they arrived here, I don't want to do the work, all on benefits, whatever the reasons, but they're here, and they're saying that they've got an immigration problem, but we've only got an immigration problem because the government and the institutions and the agencies that are meant to deal with immigration are working to another agenda, a different agenda to the one that they purport. And how do I know that? Because we've got something like, I don't know, GB News would say, I don't know, is it 40,000, 60,000 immigrants have come over this year alone, or in the last month or whatever, and they've watched them come in. So border authorities got to be aware of this. Police got to be aware of this. Ministers and politicians very well aware of this, because they have to be aware of this, because they're getting so many resources allocated to them once they get here, and there are many resources that are set up to support them to integrate, in inverted commas, into society, or to blend in, or to disappear, which is what seems to be happening. Okay, I'm going to put that to one side a minute. 13 minutes. This might be a bit of a long one because it's going to be the end of year one. Right, so we talked about a little bit about immigration, so I'm anticipating in the new year, and actually some of it starts to happen already, people spilling their guts about the truth behind some of the things that we're experiencing in terms of immigration, and why, the replacement theory, if you will, or why it feels as though native populations are being replaced by people that have got dual citizenship. People that have come into the country not fleeing war-torn environments and persecution, but for economic benefit. But who benefits? Because the communities aren't benefiting around the country. They're being run down. They are run down. All city centres look like shitholes, it seems to me. They are become desolate places, boarded up places where all sorts of heinous activity is going on. There's an overpreponderance of on the decrease actually, but for a long while there's been an overpreponderance of gambling arenas and places where you can buy alcohol. It's the alcohol that's on the change at the moment. But it's not. It's because the alcohol shops are going to be replaced by, and are being replaced by, nail bars, car washes, restaurants, eateries, and nail bars. Oh, barbers everywhere. And you know, they're all sparkly and shiny, got lots of money spent on them. Where the hell did you get the money from? Oh, there's lots of vape shops and illegal fag shops springing up all over the place. Don't know what's going on, but it's not by accident, is what I would say. And I think we're going to hear more and more and more about not just, I'm going to cross the road here, save myself some aggravation later on. Not just about how, you know, what's going on, but how it's been facilitated, how it's been enabled to go on to the point where there's been riots in the streets. You know, don't forget, they've initiated new laws to stop people from challenging people who want to challenge what's going on in their communities. When did we become a supporter of open homosexuality and nonsense of our children? When did we become like this? When did we start supporting, hiding, colluding with fucking child abusers, child traffickers, human traffickers? Because that's what this immigration business is all about, really. Immigration is just it's human trafficking, for fuck's sake. Can you not see it? People coming over on boats. Have you not read the fucking slave narrative? They can't remember. What did they come over on? Fucking boats. Oh, dear me. Then that nicely puts me this. Take a risk here. There's a very disappointing alarming, really, attitude that the English or the WASP or the people that have the attitude of a WASP, white Anglo-Saxon Protestants, towards Gaza. It's almost as though people don't know, scratching their heads about it. We don't know the difference between right and wrong, or it's not clear to everybody, or not I have no time for it anymore. The rest of the world has no time for it. But we have lots of time for that, because it seems we don't mind a bit of war, because it keeps the economy going. It just keeps the economy going. This economy is based upon war. Having multiple wars going off all at the same time. It's not just Palestine. People have forgotten about what's been going on in Sudan. That's been going on for 30 fucking years, you know. And there's lots of trafficking going on. Did you know the biggest traffickers? I did know this. The biggest traffickers in the world, before white Europeans, were the Arabs. And before then, allegedly, you know, this is in regard to the slave ships, guess who owned them? Jews, specifically, out of the white Europeans. They owned all that shit. So, anyway, I digressed. I wanted that to bring me into, this is what's going on right now as I see it. And so there is a bit of a shift in people, masses of people, the country, the UK, struggling with its sense of identity, over inflated sense of identity, a mischaracterized sense of identity, actually, misplaced sense of identity, because the identity that the English, that the seem to have, the WASP seems to have, it's a fraud. It's an adoption at best, and that's becoming quite more and more apparent, you know, as the scientists that have informed the narrative of human existence upon this planet for the last 5,000, 10,000, how many years they say we've been here, starts to fucking fall apart. You see, I mean, some of it was very, very obvious for me. So some of this information that is coming out, you know, everybody's sort of questioning the identity of Jesus and blah, blah, blah. For me, don't give a shit. But what I do give a shit about is why the people that said he was white, who knew that he wasn't, lied about it for as long as they did, and now are screw-facing and saying, why are you saying, well, what does it matter? It must have mattered, otherwise you wouldn't have fucking changed it. You wouldn't have lied about it, and you wouldn't have ignored what it says in the Bible about what he looked like. Not only Jesus, but like his dad and all his mates, you know, and all the people in the area, what they fucking look like. And on top of that, you've got Putin sticking his works in. That's what I wanted to say this morning, actually. I wanted to talk about that because it seems to me, with the threats that have just been made this week, I think, it's not a threat. Putin's sort of saying, look, you know, shut your mouth. But if you're going to start shit, if you're going to fuck about, you're going to find out. All right? You're going to fuck around and find out. That's the... he said he's waiting for you. Now, I've realised in the rhetoric, what we're talking about here essentially is Putin, I believe, is on the verge of doing what Trump's been doing. Yeah, that's right. Trump's restoring the republic. He's the head of the corporation that is the United States, but that's the top corporation over all corporations. He's the CEO of all CEOs and the CEOs that are set up under the guise of countries. Because I realised this morning, I thought, well, when did Poland come into existence? I'm going to check it out, but it's I think it might have come in, it might be a post-Second World War. No, it was around before then, but maybe the First World War, because it was part of, I don't know, Prussian Empire. It was actually believed to be. See, this crossing. That's the other reason why I'm not filming very much or been recording shit, because every time I come across these fucking crossings, these big bitches don't fucking stop at all. I've had a couple of rows on here. I'm keeping my eyes out, that's why I'm not looking into the camera. I've had people stop and trying to give me the bird, and like, I'm trying to pull car doors whilst I'm on fucking crossings. These people are... Calm down from that. It's dangerous walking on the streets, and I think it's getting particularly dangerous because what I am talking about, and what I have been talking about these last 5 years, 4 or 5, coming into 6 years now, people don't like it. People have never liked it, but I didn't realise how much people really did not like what I was talking about. But they must really hate what it is that I'm talking about now, because I ain't lying, it's all coming to pass. Speaking of which, I'm digressing again very quickly. Gold and silver. It's popping. It's popping. As was predicted, it would pop before the economy pops. It's popping. Japan evidently has a lot of Western stocks and shares and gilts and shit like that. But also, so depending on what they do with those stocks and shares, because they've spent a lot of money in the last few years acquiring gold and silver. See, Japan, people don't realise that Japan is a something, is a state that's created by the West. And I'm beginning to really appreciate, really, and not so much understand, because I knew it all along, that all these states, all these countries, which are basically states, have been set up as money laundering operations. Simple. You know, places where they can launder money, move shit around, move that money around, and also the commodities that they value most. They've not been moving gold and silver around for the last 70, 80 years. It's been stashed, but it's all been collected. But recently, it's all been, say, people have been buying up not central banks. There's certain countries that have been buying up hoards of gold and silver, and there are countries with lots and lots of gold and silver in the ground. This morning on the news they were talking about the rise of silver and gold and what it might mean for the economy. What they weren't saying is that the economy, there's nothing backing the economy at the moment. There's nothing backing the dollar anymore. Not even the petrodollar doesn't exist. Though Saudi Arabia is now part of the BRICS. BRICS has got 209 countries in it. What we're witnessing is the collapse and bankruptcy of that which we can call Western democracy. It's fucked. You know, it's borrowed up to the hilt. It's in debt for 30 odd trillion. That's just America. The UK is in the hole for 3, possibly more trillion. You know, they could pay it all off because they collect a trillion a year, apparently in the UK alone, just in taxes. So where's all the money going? It's going to fund wars. I'm going to leave it there for now. I could say a lot more, because there is a reckoning to all of this, and we'll see. The Epstein files. See, people are jumping up and down. You know, wanting. One of the things to note about that is that very few black people in there. This is what white people do. You go to islands and fuck kids, and then some. Do demonic shit. You know, and then come out and rule countries, upset people's lives, fuck up people's lives, under the guise of, and you all seem to be, what's the other word I'm looking for? Trans. Nothing is what it appears to be. Till the next time, may your ELP and your spirituality remain strong. I'm gone.